Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of I Never Knew, but My Dog Did podcast. I am Maureen Scanlon. I am a master self-worth life coach. I help you recognize and elevate your self-confidence for your desired life. I also help with your dating, and I also help with your relationships, and I also help with starting a business for my entrepreneurs and small businesses. So I'm so happy that you're here as usual. I don't know what's going on in your world, but at this time that we're recording, it is very foggy and chilly today. It's a day where you just want to sit and like read a book, cuddle up with a blanket and just like read a book. But next to that being something extremely fun, this podcast is just as much fun. And I cannot wait for you to meet my next guest. And as always, as redundant as I am, I'm saying it over and over. I can't help it. I have the most exciting guest for you today. We were talking offline. I already know we have synchronicity going on between the two of us. She learned a little bit about my craziness and she's still here, so that's okay. It's a good sign. So my guest, Giovanna Silvestre, is a true visionary and trailblazer. Her remarkable journey has taken her from the esteemed halls of the University of Southern California, USC Trojans, whoop whoop. Any of you fans out there? I happen to be an issue fan because I'm from Arizona, but I'm okay with the California side too because I lived in Monterey, so I'm sort of second removed from USC. So she went from USC to the dynamic world of entertainment. With a humble start as an assistant to a top Hollywood talent manager, Giovanna's unwavering passion for creativity and innovation quickly set her apart. Her keen eye for talent and dedication to her craft led her to a coveted position working alongside renowned film director Kenneth Branagh, I think I said that right, on the blockbuster Marvel Studios film, wait for it, Thor. Yes, you heard it, listeners. How fun. She got to work with the film director on Thor. What? In addition to her impressive tenure as a post-production coordinator on an ABC show, Giovanna's expertise extends to producing the acclaimed $2 million short film Wind in the Willows in collaboration with WETA in New Zealand, boasting an Oscar-winning crew. She's just amazing. But wait, guys. So Gianna's upcoming book, Confused Girl, Find Your Peace in the Chaos, is a compelling blend of memoir and guidance, and it is set to be published in May of 2025. So you can pre-order that. We're going to give you all that information on how to do that. So she's been featured in NBC, Forbes, London Daily Post. I mean, can we say anything more other than the fact that the cool thing about Giovanna is that she's now paying it forward and she's a helper. She is a helper spirit, just like me. And we come here and we're successful, but then we move to this place of I want to pay it forward and I want to help people. So without further ado and being long-winded, hi, beautiful Giovanna. How are you today?
Hi, so happy to be here. Thank you for having me, and thank you for that beautiful intro.
So fun. You're so fun. I love everything that you're doing. Oh my gosh. You're just a star in your own galaxy here. You know, you may have worked with celebrities and famous people, but in my eyes, you're the famous one because I always say that the people behind the scenes are the ones that make everything work. You know that.
It's
Being an
That's very
assistant,
true.
right?
That's very true.
What would they do without the helpers?
Exactly, exactly. And also, I think like I so much rather have gone off on my own and done the things that I've done versus being hired to be an actress in some big production with all these crazy people. I mean, I'd rather be the star in my own galaxy than a star on the silver screen because as we're seeing, things unfolding, it's not all it's cracked up to be. And what some of
Mm,
these people, not all of them, but what some of them have had to give up and go through, give parts of their soul away. I would never be okay with doing that. Nothing is, that's a cost too great.
yeah.
But for some people that maybe don't have a solid family background and they come from broken homes or whatever, and then they come to LA and somebody's like, okay, we're going to offer you the world, but you're going to have to give us your body or give us this, or when we say vote for this person, you're going to have to do it. When we say, come out against that person, you're going to have to do it. So it's like it's no thank you. No thank you.
Wow. I love your I love your view of the back end because you're right. It's not a glamorous and if anyone's been listening to any entertainment news lately, whatever side you are on, the Blake Lively situation is something very common of
Oh yeah.
what you were saying. I know what side I'm on, and I'm very sensitive to truth and justice, and I 1,000,000% believe her. I do. And, the truth will come out. The truth will show, and it always comes out in the wash, sometimes not always as quickly as we want it to. But those who do things that hurt other people eventually will catch up with them. And whether it's a president, wink, wink, or anybody else, it's going to come out in the wash. And we just have to stay in our place, just like you find your peace in your chaos. We have to stay in
Yeah,
this place of peace. So here
absolutely.
on I Never Knew, we always kind of start with your knee story. So your knee story is, everybody's had many of them, I'm certain, in their lives, but I know that for me, there was a really crucial point in my life where I was on my knees saying, this just isn't working. I keep repeating these cycles. I'm doing the same thing, expecting this different results, insanity cycle. And something has to give, something has to change. And that's your knee story. What is your knee story for us, Giovanna?
Oh my gosh, I love that you call it a knee story. That's so good. That is really, really good because I feel like most of us in the spiritual community or we're out there trying to help people, it's kind of started from the knee story.
Yep.
And so my knee story is in my late 20s, I fell into a really dark depression. And it's like I had been, working in Hollywood for quite a few years, and I figured out, this is not for me. I was really unhappy doing that. Then I thought maybe I'd take over my parents' Italian restaurant. They had an Italian restaurant 3 hours north of LA, really successful. And I thought, okay, maybe I'd do that. I did that for 2 years. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm miserable. I come back to LA and I had broken up with my boyfriend. I was broke. I didn't know what career I wanted to do. I was totally lost. And I just felt worthless. Like I had this such a such a self-hate and feeling of worthlessness. And what I realized is that I had been my whole life, I had been doing everything to please other people. I had been doing everything to look good to other people or to make my family happy, to look cool. Everything was very image based.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I didn't even know who I was
Yeah.
because so much was about doing things that would be cool or look good or whatever. And it's so funny because that's so different for everybody else. It's the story we create in our own head that because not everybody thinks everything's cool. Like some people think getting married and have kids is cool. Some people think being a career woman is cool. Some people think, it's just all very different what we think is cool. But it's like what you think is cool that you think other people would think is cool. It's like this story. And so it actually has really no basis in reality anyway. But anyway, I realized I had been doing that and that it led me to this point of just a lot of self-hate. And I said, okay, I want to, my main intention at that moment was I want to feel good without being attached to anything else. Like I want to wake up one day and I want to feel just good in my skin without it being because I have more money or because I have a new boyfriend or because I have a new job or because I'm taking a trip or whatever it is, right? I
Right.
want to just feel good because I exist in this body and I just feel good. Because I'm like, if I can attain that, then I can sustain the ups and downs of life.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
so at least I knew that part. At that point, I knew I got that.
Which is
And
great. I mean, what a profound thought to say, I know what's going on, because a lot of us have this self-hate and we don't know why, and we don't know what we want, and we don't know how to get it. And I love at such a young age to say, and self-hate is a very harsh word. So what's interesting, when you say I was trying to be cool, when you say, well, what is cool? Well, all of the outside influences we have in our life, we're looking for that validation, like you said, you know, the expectations of our parents, the expectations of others, the being in Hollywood, it can be a very superficial world. So poor you, having such a deep soul to be in a superficial world, you were just woof, vibrating opposite of who you really were. So I didn't mean to interrupt, but I thought that was really an important thing to point out, that how high you vibrate and how old soul you are, that you could discover that, because a lot of us, myself, didn't finally discover that kind of love for myself till I was 45 years old. So kudos to my younger generation finding themselves so much younger. So that's a lot to unpack. So what did you do to discover how you can find that happiness without money or cars or people or love or boyfriends and that kind of thing?
well, I think one interesting thing for me is, I actually my okay, so my father came here from Italy as as an immigrant to this country, and he worked really hard and had a successful restaurant. And I mean, my dad was working 17 hours a day. I mean, my dad was an amazing man. But um God, I just lost track of what I was gonna say.
Just no, just how you found, how'd you find your place? How'd you find you're happy
Oh,
watching
yes.
it?
Okay. Sorry. Yes. Okay. Okay. Gosh, this is happening a lot lately. The last few days, I'm having these like brain fogs. And I just saw, sorry, side note, I was watching this video about the astrology because, like, this last Saturday, something crazy happened to me, which I can share later. The planets aligned. And I was watching videos about that. And it basically said that you're going to be experiencing some brain fog, almost like you're high, even though you're not high. And this has been happening to me yesterday. And they said you'd have really vivid dreams. So I'm having super vivid dreams. Yesterday, I felt very scattered and all over the place. And I'm having these consistent brain fogs, which is very unlike me. Like, I'm very focused and in the moment. So to have these brain fogs, I'm like, no, sort it
Well,
out, Cosmo, sort it out. Okay. I don't like feeling scattered and I don't like these brain fogs. But
that
okay, anyway.
whole that whole when the planets align, everything's going to be great. No, it seems like it's the opposite. Also, we were discussing offline, listeners, I'm just going to let you in on a secret. She's very tired. So this is interesting how you're being affected so much by what's going on vibrationally in the universe. And all I'm going to say is buckle up, Buttercup, because when you get menopause, that's your life every single day. It's
So
just
I was thinking about that. I was thinking about that. I was like, oh my God, this is what's gonna happen when you go through menopause and then even after menopause, just getting older. I'm like, oh my God.
You learn to deal with it. You learn to use
Oh,
you'll use a lot of sticky notes. That's like I live by sticky notes. If I didn't have sticky notes, you should see my desk. Like I would die between my ADHD and my menopause brain. Forget about it. If I didn't,
well, just forgive me through this interview, and just if I need a reminder about what we're talking about, please,
no
it'd be
forgiveness
great.
needed. I will
It'd be
bring
great.
I'll bring you back on the path, and if I forget, then we're just going to stay on this branch over here.
Okay. So okay, I do know what I was gonna say though. So anyway, my parents, were successful. They went through a little bit of an up and down time, but I would say through my high school and college years, they really came into their own as entrepreneurs. And so I kind of had all the things, that a lot of people didn't, that people want to work up toward, like I was driving a nice brand new convertible BMW. I was going to a really good school without student loans. I mean, I had the things.
Yeah.
And if I ever needed anything, I could call them and be like, "Hey, I need some money or whatever." Even though I didn't do that, I could do it.
Mm.
So I think that at that time, I had a lot of self-hate too, because I'm like, I have all of these things that people dream of having. Some people dream of having, and we weren't super rich or anything. It wasn't like I was on private jets or something like that. It wasn't crazy, but it was, the kind of American dream, upper middle class family. And so I had all these things, but yet I was unhappy. So I found out that money doesn't give you happiness. Working around celebrities doesn't give you happiness. Driving a BMW doesn't give you happiness. Having a nice condo close to the beach doesn't give you happiness. I really discovered that, where I think that was a real gift from the universe, because a lot of people, they think, oh, if I have that car, I'm going to be happy.
Yeah.
If
Oh yeah.
once I get the money and I have that, I'm going to be happy. And it does give you, when you work for something and you attain something, it does give you a sense of pride and satisfaction for sure. And I think like there is a level to where, you've completed your survival needs, you're pretty secure, and that does affect your happiness. But as you go up financially, there's a cap. It doesn't exponentially make you happier to be flying on a private jet versus flying in a regular plane. Actually, what gives you happiness is the people you're flying with, is the experiences you have, is the amount of contentment you have with yourself and inside your being, that you go everywhere with. So because of that, I was like, oh my gosh. But it also gave me a sense of guilt, and again, with the self-loathing, because I'm like, I have all these things that people would want and I'm not happy. So there must be something inherently wrong with me.
Mhm.
So that kind of added to the depression and the upset. And And so I was like, well, I honestly got to this fork in the road where I was like, there was so much pain inside of my body, and I was in such a mental prison, where it was like a record player of just all of my shortcomings just playing over and over. And I know you shared with me that you have ADD, and I've never been diagnosed with that, but I think have a bit of an obsessive compulsive thing
Okay.
going on.
Yeah.
I do have, my dad had that too.
Mm.
And where one day my dad, I remember we were sitting at, you know, lunch, and he was just like staring at these windows, and I was like, what are you thinking about? And he kind of giggled, and I'm like, what are you thinking about? Because he looked so intense and in thought. And he's like, I'm counting the windows, because they were like little squares, and he's like, I'm counting and I'm like, why are you? And then when I was a kid, when my dad and I would go running, if if my left foot, in the sidewalk, like stepped on a crack, I would have to step on a crack with my right foot. I had to even things out. Or if I bonked my elbow on my left, I had to bonk it on my right. It's like I had to have this like yeah. So I have
Wow.
yeah, yeah. So I've had that, And
I could almost break that down right now with, the psychology that I've taken. What goes hand in hand with OCD is perfection. And that's what it sounds like. And a lot of people suffer from depression who are perfectionists because you'll never reach the level of perfection that you want to reach or that you think other people need you to reach. And especially being in the career that you were in and being someone's assistant and having the expectations put on you that you almost need to be a mind reader. So,
yeah,
they shouldn't have to ask for this. You should just know that. You're my assistant. You should know what I need. And we do that a lot in relationships. If you love me, you would know that I needed this from you for Valentine's. No, that's not how that works. Like that's why you probably had some struggle there because like you
yeah,
said the perfectionism part that's so fascinating. I'm with you on that. I'm very everything has a place and there's a place for everything, and I do not like clutter because if it's cluttered in my
yeah,
environment my brain's cluttered. But what
yeah,
I love is you're balancing out. I hit my arm over here, I have to hit my arm over here. If I step on a crack, then I'm going to keep stepping on a crack. That's
yeah.
interesting. What that is you balancing out what you see as an imperfection and then what like accommodating it or countering it. So that's I've never
Yes.
heard that, and I love that view. And there's nothing wrong with that, and there's nothing wrong with you, but I'm certain at the time you felt there was. So you being like most that are here for a bigger purpose, I say there's like, a 49-51. Half the people are just okay hustling and going day to day and what's next, what's next, what's next. If I get the car, if I get the job, if I get most people are great with
Yeah.
that. You and I are not that way. My listeners are not that way. They wouldn't be listening to this podcast if they were. We needed something bigger. We needed something deeper, and we had a purpose to fulfill here. And so tell
Yes.
us how you discovered what your purpose was.
Yes. After, okay, so to get out of this depression, which I write about in my book, I did a bunch of things. I read a ton of self-help books. I watched a ton of YouTube videos. I started meditating. I started doing walks in nature. Like even just getting outside and doing a 20-minute walk, you're just gonna sleep better. There's cortisol that is, that you get rid of in your body. It helps so much. It's like these people talk about this all the time, and if you listen to Tony Robbins or this person or that person, they basically say all these things over and over again. Everyone's regurgitating these things because they actually do work if you do them. So I kind of became like a monk in the four walls of my apartment, and my main focus was I want to feel worthy and good without it being attached to anything external. And after about 6 months of being very disciplined and doing all these things, I woke up one day and it was so weird. It's like I had taken, MDMA or something. I woke up with this crazy energy in my body of just joy and gratitude. I had never really felt gratitude before. There was a couple of moments in my life that I could point out where I was looking at nature, actually, where it just hit me for a hot second and left. But this was so intense, and nothing in my life had changed. Absolutely nothing. From when I fell into my depression to then, nothing out externally had changed, but internally I had shifted.
Hmm.
And I had also shifted the way I had started to shift the way I perceived things and looked at the world. I no longer looked at the world like they want us to look at the world, like success comes from money, success comes from this, success comes from that, because I did that and it led me into a depression. Like it didn't work. So I tried listening to everyone and did that and it didn't work for me. So now I'm like, well, I gotta shift this because how you guys view the world is not working for me. So I got to figure out my own way I want to view it. And so after that, I'm like, okay, now I'm ready to actually some take some actions outside of just getting myself to a better place internally because I'm like I'm okay now. I have a foundation to build on. So I go, well, I'm what am I going to do now? And I was like, well, I'm confused and I that's the most authentic thing about me. And a decade ago, blogs were the thing. I mean, now I if I'd been starting this now, I might have started a podcast, but then it was blog. So I started a video blog called Confused Girl in the City. And every week I did something new that I'd never done before in an attempt to figure out what I liked and what I didn't like. Not what somebody told me I should like, not what I should like based upon the fact that, I come from this family, I was born here, I'm a female, blah, 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 all the things. No, what do I like? And so every week I was doing new things and it was so awesome because I just started to look at my life like this grand adventure and this whole journey of self-discovery and every person I met, everything I did. I mean, I even like went on the trapeze. There was like a trapeze in Santa Monica and I took a lesson, a trapeze lesson, and I actually did the where you like hang on by your legs and he grabs you by your arms and yeah, I did that move
Oh
in
my,
my lesson. I mean, I was just doing things that I would not have done if I wasn't going, okay, we got to try every week because I have the vlog, I was committed to my audience to do one new thing a week and to try new things. And that within itself was just like pushing me outside of my comfort zone and discovering myself and then it's so great because those were my baby steps, right? Those were my baby steps. And then my big girl steps were like, oh, okay, I really love to travel. Now I'm going to go, travel the world by myself. And, but I couldn't have gotten there without doing everything I did first.
right.
Like, I would have thought, I need a guy to travel with me. I need a friend to travel with me. I need, family. Like, I can't do this by myself. It's too scary. But because I had done all those other things, and it was just like, slowly getting in cold water. You know, that was, and
Oh, I love this so much. And I'm so sorry to interrupt you. I just have to interject. I always say that I do this to be the voice my younger self needed. And I'm listening to you and I'm thinking, my God, if I would have heard what I tell people to do, I would have been Giovanna literally in my 20s and 30s because that's what I didn't know. And of course, you guys know that the podcast is I never knew what my dog did. My books are all about dogs. I have a dog boutique. So
love it.
my acronym is BONE, and I did exactly that. I said exactly what you just said. So B is brave. Do something different. Take a risk. Do something you've never done before. I had my entire life, I got married at 18. My entire life, I had always been mom and wife. And after the divorce and my kids were visiting their dad, oh my gosh, I had never even been to a coffee shop by myself. It was terrifying. But I
Wow.
got out there and did things alone. I went hiking. I got outside, just like you said. I met people. O is to be observant. Get outside of yourself. It's great to self-reflect, but let's like look at the world around us. What are things that you see around you that you want to emulate? And that was a big part of me where I was so focused on my problems and what was wrong with me. I had to look around and just be like, Oh, I love how that person is so kind to others, or I want to be that patient. I'm not very patient. I want to be that patient. So that's important to be out there and be observant and also just take the time, be in nature, listen to a bird. Or I love that you said, I started to want to travel, do that solo travel and necessary self-care, just what you did in your four walls. You found a way to say, I'm going to take care of me without needing anything outside of what I provide for myself. That is the key thing in my coaching that people struggle with the most, which is why we build self-worth, self-confidence, because if we don't find the validation first in us, we're never going to be happy. Because
Yeah.
you're always going to be looking for people to validate you in
Always,
every stage of your life. And then
always,
my
always.
last one is what I've learned is a lot of us go out there with expectations. And I love that you and I were talking about you had all these expectations on you, even though your family was beautiful and lovely and so sweet. But there were expectations of success. There were expectations of how what success looked like you said, money. And so feeling not satisfied with all those things that people expected you to be satisfied with left you feeling empty. What I learned was you will find what you seek. So when you go out in the world, if you're worried of people judging you, you're worried about having negative experiences, guess what? You're going to find it because you're looking
Yeah.
for it. You buy a red car, you're going to see all the red cars on the road. It's
Yeah.
that
You
same
will,
idea,
what you're
right?
looking, yes, yes, you will find what you're looking for. Exactly. Good and bad.
Right, right. So be expectant. That's what I changed was I went out into the world just saying, I'm going to meet some really cool people today. I'm going to have a really good conversation today. I'm going to learn something I didn't know today. I started doing like word of the day, like learning of, I love vocabulary. I love vocabulary. So I love learning new words. And so I would literally get the word of the day. I left myself open to all this new stuff that I never really realized that was my happiness because who was fulfilling me? I was fulfilling me. So thank you for letting me interject because I feel you're the younger me that I wish I had all of that advice and all of that strength that you have. So well done. Well done. So,
Thank,
of course.
thank you. Thank you. Um, yeah, it's interesting, but just for you, and I'm sure you already do, you already know this, but it your generation, you didn't have as many things accessible, as my generation does, as far as like self-help stuff. And even yoga 12 years ago was more niche than it is now. And yoga
Yeah.
was like a huge thing that helped me just quiet my mind. And when you quiet your mind, then that's when the peace and inspiration and the good stuff can enter in. And your generation was kind of taught go, 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 go. Like even with your kids, like my mom, for instance, she was like, oh my God, it was all about, we had to make sure you did dance and you did soccer and you did this and you did that and all these things, because she's like, you didn't want your kids to miss out on any opportunities. And so they felt pressure because to be a good parent, to get to do all these things for you and to pay for all those things for you. And then you felt pressured to succeed in all of those things because that's what they want you to succeed, because they want their efforts to, like, also make sense. So it's like it's a pressure cooker. It's a pressure
Yes.
it's a
Yes.
pressure cooker for the parents, it's a pressure cooker for the children. And then it just teaches you that you just got to go, 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 go. And we're not Energizer bunnies. We are not. There is a season for everything. If you even look in nature, we are animals, right? We're probably like half animal, half alien. Okay. and and a part of us runs very animalistic. And it's like, if you look at animals and you look at nature, they run in cycles. There's
Mhm.
like, even January, I told you, because I run my own schedule. I slept so much last night, and I woke up very sleepy today, but it's January, and even though I'm in LA, it's still cold outside, and it's still a cycle. It's
Yeah.
still a cycle we're on. and the planets are doing their own thing, and we're all connected to everything. So if you're trying to like be an energizer bunny and go, go, go all the time, you're gonna burn out. You're gonna run out of steam because you're not in touch with the natural cycles of life in your body, and especially women. Men can be more energizer bunny-esque, even though they have their own cycles, but we have a monthly cycle.
Yep. Yep.
And it's like, and you know, I love it now because they're starting to talk about cycle hacking and when to rest during your cycle, when to like the times of the month to rest, the times of the month to get things done. Because there are just some days where I'm like, I cannot do this. I want to do this. I want to get it done. I'm not procrastinating. I'm not being lazy. I just can't do it. My body and everything in me is like, we can't do this right now. We need to rest.
Yes. Oh, my favorite saying is I don't have the bandwidth. That's like my absolute favorite saying. I mean, I when you have something that you know has to be done, and if you're a perfectionist, like my friend Giovanna here, it's hard to not get it done. It is so hard.
It's hard.
I have to like tell myself to focus, like, especially with ADD, I have to have a little catchphrase that I say, which is hocus pocus focus, Maureen. And it says, Maureen, stop it, focus, stop it, focus. You know, it's, you have to like really intentionally make that happen. But like you said, there are just days you can't, you just cannot, your brain cannot do it. And what's the point in making it trying to make something happen when you can't give it your all? Don't you want to wait until you can give it your all? That's like you said, take back that hustling mentality and have more of a flow like our cycles. I love that you said it's called cycle hacking, and I want to look more into that. So tell me, I could talk to you for ever. And we're doing we're doing good. We got about 15-ish minutes left. So was this what happened? Is this what brought you to say, or maybe was it just kind of an out of the blue, like got up in the middle of the night and started writing, or was this intentional, like I need to help other people understand that you can find peace in this chaos too? When did the
Yeah.
idea for writing it come for you?
Well, so okay, so I started the video blog and then I started because I was doing lots of yoga at the time. And this was a decade ago when not everybody and their mother was making yoga leggings. Like it was just Lululemon that was still very niche. And there was a couple of independent brands. So I was doing lots of yoga and I was like, you know what? I'm going to make a yoga wear line inspired by healing crystals. And that's a whole other, how I got to that is a whole other story that maybe I won't share today. I can share some other moment. But so came up with this idea. And the thing about me is when I have an idea and I'm inspired, I just go for it. I don't question myself too much. I don't go, oh, you know, can I do this? Am I good enough to do? I don't, and especially after the work I did, I just don't have that. So I just went and I did it. And after I made the leggings, I'm like, okay. And that was a crazy roller coaster ride of how am I going to get these made for the price I need? Then once I got them made, how am I going to sell them? Making a website. I just did all of it. And it took like a year and a half to get off the ground. And then it was like, okay, how do I sell this? Well, and I used Instagram because it was free. I didn't have any money. So Instagram was a free tool. So, and again, Instagram was newer at the time. It wasn't, you know how people are using TikTok, how people were using TikTok
Yeah.
as a means to get views and exposure. Well, Instagram was that for me. And so I used Instagram and I started selling my stuff all over the world. And
Wow.
and see, now had I started it now, Instagram, you know, might not be the right vessel because now that's been there but done that kind of thing. It's been used. But then it did really work. And um, because of that, I was able to travel the world for 2 years and write this book. And the inspiration, I never thought I'd write a book. It wasn't a thing that I was thinking of. I studied business in college. I didn't study writing, but I also didn't study film. And I got to very high up in the film industry. So I'm like, whatever, you learn as you go kind of thing. And and so I got this inspiration while I was driving home to my parents' house to write a book. It just like hit me like a lightning bolt. It's like, you're going to write a book. And then this surge again of excitement and joy filled my body. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to write a book. I didn't have an overwhelming feeling. I didn't have it was just like, yay. So I told my parents and they're like, okay, she's on to her next thing. And they're like, what's next for her? And then so I left the country and because I wanted to do it in a peaceful setting. I didn't want to be in the pressure cooker. And so I went to Bali where it's very inexpensive to live. And I wrote this. I did yoga every day, and then after sit at a cafe. And I very much listened to myself. When I wanted to write and I was inspired, I wrote. When I was sitting there not feeling inspired and tired and didn't want to write, I didn't write. I did this like I had never done anything else in my life.
I cannot believe you just said that, listeners. Did you hear what she just said? Literally, that is my thing. And everyone said that, and I wrote it like in 8 weeks, and it was like channeled. I don't even know how I did it. And everyone said, "Don't you get writer's block?" And I said, "I never got writer's block because I wouldn't write when I didn't feel good about writing. And if I didn't feel like writing, I wouldn't write." And I cannot believe you literally just mimicked. You're the younger me. I'm looking at the younger me right now. And my listeners know this, and my friends know, everybody knows this.
Oh my God, that's
You
crazy.
cannot do something unless you feel good about it. You're never going to be successful or as successful at something when you don't feel good about it. The fact that you just said that, that's why your book is a hit. That's why your book is going to be a bestseller, and that it's so authentically you. Because again, like you said, you took yourself out of all the hustle, all craziness, and you were just relaxed and listening to your higher self, listening and feeling your intuition about what your path and your purpose was to share with the world. And the fact that you and I are just, oh my gosh, how synchronized. I swear I told you that
Plus,
there was synchronicity.
planet aligned and stuff. I mean, the synchronicities are like crazy right now. I mean, it's insane what's going on. But yeah, so I wrote, so this gets even crazier with synchronicities. I mean, this story is really, I mean, it still amazes me. Um, I am so grateful for it. Oh my gosh. So write the book. I come back to the US. It's COVID, right? So I got a flight right before the border where I was closed. Come back to California with my parents. I'm with my parents, and I'm like, okay, you know what? Let me try to find an agent now.
Mhm.
So even when I was emailing agents, so I found agents, for nonfiction, I emailed one agent and she got back to me immediately. And she said, this isn't right for me because I don't do nonfiction, but I just sent this to, and then gave the name of the agent she sent it to. I just sent it to this person who I think this will be perfect for. And then I looked at the next person I was going to email, the next agent I was going to email was the person she sent it to.
Oh, wow.
I didn't even
Yes.
I didn't even have to send it to that agent because it was done for me. And that's what happened with this whole project. Everything got it's like I did the work and then things got done for me.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, oh my God, this is so divine. This is divine. So I ended up going with that agent. I ended up signing with that agent that she had sent my stuff to. And another agent wanted to sign me, but I just felt more aligned with that agent.
Mhm.
And so then that agent had my book for 2 years. And it was rejection, 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 rejection. But cool thing here is it didn't affect my self-worth because of all the work that I did where I didn't want anything to affect my self-worth.
Yes.
So it was like the all the work I did when I was getting out of my depression, like strong little Giovanna feeling horrible about herself, my hero, she was like, we want to feel good without it being attached to anything. And then here I am being rejected and I don't feel bad about myself.
Gosh, that's
Because
amazing. All
all
that
that
inner work that you did
so much.
to achieve the thing that you had said way back when, this is what I want. I want to be happy without needing all of that outside stuff.
Yeah.
That's what you accomplished. And then to be able to not only to be non-hypocritical by saying, "Hey guys, do this." I'm not doing it, but I'm writing about it, so you should do
Right?
it.
Exactly. And it's like, but it's like one of those things where you don't even think about reflecting back on it. You're like, I didn't even feel bad while I'm being rejected. I think a couple times while I was being rejected, I was like, no, this isn't. Of course, self-doubt crept in, like, and then also contemplation of, okay, maybe so if it doesn't get published, then okay, I'll self-publish, and then thinking about what to do, problem solving. But it wasn't I'm not good enough. It wasn't self-hate. It wasn't any of those things. It wasn't any of those things. And it was so cool. I was like, whoa, like that's the real success right there. Like that's the
Exactly. There was the achievement. If nothing, if you don't sell a single book, which you will, but if you don't, we've already got the success that we needed for the purpose of what we were doing that for. And
big.
I just, I love that so much. And I don't want to, I hate to cut you down. We need to, or cut you short. We need to definitely do another one
Okay, let me
after
tell
book
you
comes
this
out.
last little bit. I'll tell you this
Yes.
last bit because
Oh
it's
yeah.
the best. So finally, after 2 years, okay, and my dad got really sick and he got with cancer and he was dying. And 2 months, because my father was all about accolades, right? 2 months before my father passed away, two publishing companies had a bidding war on my book. And I signed with one publishing company who's publishing my book, and they're amazing. I mean, sent to me from God, seriously, amazing. And my dad got to know that I was going to be a published author before he passed away. And he was so proud. And people go, you must be so proud. And I was like, proud was never the emotion I felt. It was just pure gratitude. Like the emotion I felt through this whole thing was just pure gratitude. And I'm not saying that to sound good or cool or evolved, but it was just that I'm just being honest. My dad felt proud. I felt gratitude because I also knew that I cannot make somebody publish my book. That is totally an act outside of myself. That
Yeah.
is totally, there are so many people that submit amazing manuscripts and everything. That was totally an act of pure of God. And so I'm grateful. And also, the reason why they said they published it, which is the premise of the book, is that I say confusion is a virtue. Because without that confused Giovanna, I would not be this Giovanna.
That's
So it all
right.
lies on her. It all lies on confused Giovanna. So my whole thing is that your confusion is actually your superpower. So you don't need to feel bad about being confused.
Absolutely. So many people have this list of flaws that they have. And if you could see those as attributes, I always say ADD is my superpower. Are you kidding
Yeah.
me? I have 5 businesses. How many people can run 5 businesses, you know?
Say, I'm like, you actually have way more energy than me. I mean, I know, seriously, it is your superpower. And it's like, if you if you can learn how to guide it, same thing with confusion. That's what the book's about. Taking your confusion, guiding it,
Yeah.
and letting it become, letting it propel you forward. Your ADD is propelling you forward. Because you're right. How many people wake up with your amount of energy? Not many.
Well, I don't know about waking up with it, but at midnight, I'm certain most people don't have as much as I do. But yeah, and that's what it is that's something that's really important to me in my coaching when people come for coaching, they want to know how fast can I get there and what are you going to do for me? Well, I'm not going to do anything for you, and how fast it goes is up to you. But what I'm going to do is I always say traditional therapy is for uncovering and life coaching is for recovering. And so my
Yeah.
goal is to always tell you what's good about you. You've beat yourself up. Other people have beat you up. You know all the things that you think are wrong with you and what people have bullied you about your entire life. My job as your coach is not to bully you. I'm going to tell you what's good. I love that you say that confusion is your superpower because, well, how do we figure stuff out in life if we don't have this other thing? How can I be successful if I didn't have failure? It's contrast. You have to have this to have this and this to have this. So
Yeah,
tell us
absolutely.
where we can find you, how they can pre-order the book, your website, your blog, if you still have it. Just give us all the info before we sign off today. I'm a master timekeeper, which I never have been, so I've gotten really, really good at saying, okay, we got to
Great.
keep it in the timeline. So let us know how to find you.
Okay, so you can go to my website, confusedgirlinthecity.com, and you can pre-order my book, Confused Girl, Find Your Peace in the Chaos. And if you pre-order it, and you email me a screenshot, which you can also just email me from my website, you will be entered to win $100 gift card from my store, and also a 2-night stay in Maui at my favorite hotel called Napili Kai. And I know it's amazing. Oh my gosh, it's such a peaceful, amazing place. A gem of Maui. And also, yeah, you can find me on Instagram at Confused Girl LA. If you could even just go to Amazon and find the book Confused Girl, Find Your Peace in the Chaos. So, but thank you guys so much for listening. And I hope there was something I said here today that could be helpful.
Definitely. Definitely. I have no doubt. At Confused Girl LA, that was your Insta? No.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
that's my Insta. Confused
Okay.
Girl.
I'm going to have all of this information. I want to make sure that I got it right. And then if you pre-order, you email her and you'll be entered to win $100 from her store. And I'll get all that afterwards. But anyway, this is fantastic. So reach out to her, or if you didn't get all of that, feel free to reach out to me, guys. You know how to find me, and I will help you with any coaching, relationship, dating, confidence building, self-worth building. If you feel you have sort of that self-hate that Giovanna once had, that's what I'm here for, is to show you why you're here and what's good about you, because that's what's important. So I'm at lifecoachmaureen.com. All of my stuff is there, as you all know, my books. My dog is more enlightened than I am. My dog is my relationship coach, forgetting the name of my own books. And my children's book, My Dog Bexley, is just like me, teaching your little ones 0 to 6 mindfulness before we have to fix it when they're 30. So let's get them started right on meditation, loving themselves, and emotions are okay, and self-care is good. So don't forget our doggy boutique where I make homemade treats, healthy treats, only 3 to 4 ingredients right from my kitchen. No xylitol in the peanut butter, which is very toxic to your dogs. That's not in our treats. And that is mydoggiseverything.net. Lots of stuff, apparel, dresses, boots. I got boots. I got Crocs for puppies. I have it all. I can't even name it. Someone counted my inventory the other day, and I have almost 1,000 items for on my shop. And that's where we just go around Austin area and we do pop-up shops and get to meet all the puppies and all the owners. But we are online and I do ship within 24 hours. So make sure you get your order out there and everything is fresh, made by me, like I said, within a few days of me shipping. So I love y'all for being here. I love Giovanna for being here. She is amazing. We're going to pre-order that book and make sure that she gets the recognition for all of her inner work that she's now paying forward, because that's the key. Let's do that, everyone. Leave your comments. Reach out if you want to be a guest. If you have any show ideas, something that you're like, hey, can you find someone to talk about this thing? Just shoot me an email, my contact information on that website, lifecoachmaureen.com. And that's about it. I love you all. for being here. We're all 5 stars on Apple, so make sure you leave those reviews because I really appreciate that. That gets us lots and lots of listens and downloads. So take care of yourself, take care of one another. Please, please make sure to take care of those furry babies and please adopt and do not shop. There's a forever baby waiting for you and they will pick you. I guarantee it. So I love you all for being here. Until next week.